Hello, we're at Chapter 3, Lecture 7. So far we talked about supply and demand separately, and now we're going to put them together and talk about market situations. On any exam, if I ask you about a market situation, the answer is one of the three situations right here. It's either equilibrium, surplus, or shortage. Any market is in one of these three situations at any particular point in time. The first one would be a stable situation, and that's known as equilibrium. And equilibrium is defined as when the quantity demanded is equal to the quantity supplied. So that means that the producers, which are the quantity supplied, are producing exactly the amount that consumers are buying. So consumers are buying QD amount, the producers are selling QS amount, and it's exactly equal. In this case, there's no pressure on the price to go up or down because any buyer who wants to buy this item at that price can do so, and any seller who wants to sell can do so at the current market price. That's not the case with the next two situations. First, we have a surplus, also known as excess supply, defined as when the quantity supplied is greater than the quantity demanded, or you can define it as the quantity demanded less than the quantity supplied, same thing. This means that producers are producing more than the amount consumers are buying. So the sellers are offering more for sale right now than the amount consumers are buying. So there's unsold goods there. This puts downward pressure on price. Third situation is a market shortage, also known as excess demand. That's when the quantity demanded is greater than the quantity supplied. And that means that consumers are trying to buy more than the amount available. So we're trying to buy more than what's being put on the market. This would put upward pressure on price. So now let's go to an example with a surplus. And here we have a table. And so a surplus situation would be where the quantity supplied is greater than the quantity demanded. And so we can go to somewhere like maybe $5. $6 would do it, $5 would do it, $4 would do it. So let's pick, say for example, $5. And so this is how we use supply and demand. We take the $5 until we hit something, and we hit this line right here. It's downward sloping, so this is my market demand. Put a D there. This is upward sloping. This is the market supply. And then we have $5 going out till we hit something. We hit demand. We drop a line straight down. Because that came from demand, that means we have a quantity demanded equal to 5. And then keep going out till we hit something else. Hit this line right here, which is supply, so if you drop a line straight down. This came from supply, this is the quantity supplied, and that'll be 25. So this means the definition of a surplus. If I ask you on the exam, how do you know it's a surplus? You would say because the quantity supplied of 25 is greater than the quantity demanded of 5. There. Looks better? So graphically, we have our surplus right here. This is the amount that's being put on the market for sale. This is the amount we're buying. This is what's left over. So all this right here is not sold. This could be, say you walked into a swap meet, and this is the amount of goods that have not been sold, for maybe the first 3 or 4 hours of the swap meet. And this right here is what we call the surplus. Now what we have here is that a lot of consumers are, a lot of sellers are not able to sell what they brought to market, and so a lot of these sellers are not very happy because they paid money to produce their goods and they have not been able to sell them. And so what's going to happen is that competition among the sellers is going to drive the price down. So when you have a surplus, the surplus is going to drive that price down, and that comes from competition from the sellers. Every point along the supply line represents a particular seller, and every point along the demand line represents a consumer. So when the price starts to come down, then the laws of supply and demand start to work. When the price comes down, That's a signal to the consumers that maybe they should buy more because now it's more inexpensive. And so the quantity demanded is going to be going up. It's going to increase. And that's shown right here. When the price starts coming down from $5, these consumers here start to enter the market. These consumers here are not willing to pay $5. Only ones willing to pay $5 and above are the ones at $5 right there and everyone up here. These guys are not willing or not able to pay $5, but when the price comes down, these guys start coming to the market, these people. And so again, every point along the demand line is a consumer. At the same time, this also causes the quantity supplied to decrease. A lower price is a signal to the sellers you've made too much. And so these producers start to drop out of the market as well. So we have our consumers going this way, down to the right along demand. We have our sellers going this way, down to the left along supply. And they keep going down. The surplus is shrinking as the quantity demanded is moving this way. People are buying more, 5 to 10. At the same time, the sellers are cutting back from 25 to 20. And we're moving closer toward this point right here. When the price comes all the way down to $3, we have a meeting here between the buyers and the sellers. At $3, I hit both supply and demand at the same point. So that means the quantity demanded is exactly equal to the quantity supplied. And that represents the first situation called equilibrium. So the consumers went from, say, point A to point C. The sellers went from, say, point B to point C. And this is all done through the competition among the sellers. The sellers had overproduced, had too much on the market. The way to get rid of that is to cut your price, put things on sale, and by doing that, we will achieve market equilibrium. Here's the second situation that's not equilibrium, and this would be a market shortage. And a market shortage would be a price maybe, say, at $1. So again, this is supply, this is demand. At $1, we go out, hit something, we hit supply, drop a line straight down, and this now is our quantity supplied. Over here on the table, you see $1, the quantity supplied is 5. Keep going out till we hit something else. Here we hit demand, we drop a line straight down. That came from demand, that's our quantity demanded. Now we have the quantity demanded of 25 is much greater than the quantity supplied of 5. And so now this situation has been reversed or flipped. This is now a shortage. And the shortage is actually 20. Consumers are trying to buy 25, only 5 is on the market. So we have 20 units of this good that is trying to be bought by consumers, but they can't find it. So now this puts upper pressure on price as we have competition now among the consumers. The consumers compete with one another. Every point along the demand line represents a consumer, and all these consumers are willing to pay more. And so they start to offer more, and as they offer more, that's going to cause the price to go up. As the price goes up, that sets into motion both the laws of supply and demand. First of all, that's an incentive for the sellers to bring more to market. And so you'd find that the quantity supplied would be increasing as the price goes up, as the sellers move this way along the supply line up to the right. At the same time, that causes some of the consumers to drop out of the market. As the price goes up, these consumers down here start saying, either I'm not willing to pay those higher prices or I'm not able. And so the consumers move this way and they start to drop out of the market. So we have more sellers coming into the market offering more for sale. We have consumers dropping out, and we're moving back toward equilibrium. The quantity supplied is moving this way as more is brought to market. Quantity demand is decreasing as consumers drop out. And again, we're converging to this point right here, which you saw earlier was equilibrium. So price keeps going up until we get to $3. At $3, the quantity supplied now is now equal to the quantity demanded, and now we're back in equilibrium. All done through competition among consumers with a shortage, and if you have a surplus, it's all brought back to equilibrium with competition among the sellers. And what's nice about this is that it takes no act of any government, no committee has to meet. It's all done through the interaction of buyers and sellers.